Welcome back to Rants and Reels. I took a little break, but I'm back now, and I'm going to see a movie tonight, and it is The Predator. This is Shane Black. You might remember him as Hawkins, I think, from the original Predator, from the first Predator film. So this is, Shane Black wrote and directed this. He had some help writing. This is being billed as a rejuvenation of a stagnant franchise. And we'll see. Alright, I've just come out of the theater after watching The Predator. Initial first reactions are always a little bit tough with something like this, with a film like this. It was very mediocre, and it is sometimes hard to nail down why a mediocre film did not succeed. And for The Predator, I think there are several of those reasons. Primarily, I think Shane Black was a little too focused on recreating the spark that caused the original Predator film to be a success. Unfortunately, we don't live at that time anymore, so it doesn't work. It just winds up feeling very dated, and it feels like somebody trying to relive the past, trying to reinvent something that's not only already been reinvented but already made obsolete. Okay, there are a few more thoughts. I think I need to drive and think. The big problem I really see with The Predator is, as I mentioned before, the way Shane Black was trying to cash in on the nostalgia of the first film. That didn't really work. It felt very, very forced. So it felt, what's the word I'm looking for? It was patronizing. That's what it felt. The other problem is the story was so loosely pieced together that it falls apart if you give it the least bit of scrutiny. So much of it just does not make sense from a narrative as so much of the story does not make sense as a narrative. The points in the story, from A to B, all the different plot points and actions don't necessarily follow, not logically anyway. Things happen because that's the way they wrote it, but that action didn't make sense. Why were people doing the things they were doing? And that sounds terribly vague, and I'm sorry. As much as I think this is mediocre, I don't want to spoil it for anybody that is actually wanting to go see it. Now, there are a lot of people who want to see this movie, and I know some people who were excited for it. I'm a fan of the original Predator. So I was interested, very intrigued, to see what they can do and where they can take this, and how they can reinvent or rejuvenate this franchise. I don't really think they did. I think it's going to be commercially successful enough that they're probably going to get another one. But it really just wasn't good. It wasn't campy. The the camp and the kitsch felt very forced. It's very awkward at times the way Shane Black shoehorned one-liners and jokes into the dialogue. Lots of little inside jokes and quips that didn't need to be there, and it was a bit of it became a distraction. It derailed the momentum of the film. So by the time we got to the third act, we didn't really care about the characters. So we didn't really care what happened to the characters. So yeah, it's very meh, very average, mediocre. A little bit disappointing, I gotta say. Coming from someone who's a fan of these films, grew up with these films. Yeah, I'm disappointed. I wanted better. Now, granted, the original film is not exactly a masterpiece, but it is a product of its time. That's what we got. Those were those movies. So really, I don't have any illusions about how good or not good they actually were. But The Predator, not as good as it could be, not as good as it maybe should be. Maybe it'll get a franchise or a sequel. I don't know, but I'm not really putting much money on it. Thanks for watching. This is Rants and Reels, and that was The Predator. Good night, everybody.